Let me tell you the story of a man by the name of Tony Mo. Some say they saw him walk out into the desert one deserty day. He walked for 100 days, and for 100 nights, they think. They couldn't really see him after the first mile or so. It's desert, it's hard to see people at that distance, but they assumed so, because he didn't return for 100 nights. Or maybe it was on the 101st day. I don't even know how you say that. Let's just continue with the story. Now some say he went out there with no map. No map. Can you believe that? No map? It's 2017. There's like a GPS in every single phone. And he doesn't even at least take like a paper map. I mean, there's a guy, he offered them the paper map for free. And he's like, no big deal. And then he left his cell phone in the sand. They're like, you're gonna take your cell phone? He's like, no, I don't need that either. And he just walked into the desert. Craziness, right? So some say the reason he walked into the desert without a map and without GPS so crazily, it's 2017, and the reason he walked for those 100 days, he was doing a bit of soul searching. But at the end of the day, I think Tony Mo is the only one who really knows what happened those 100 days in the desert. And as it turned out, he actually wasn't in the desert at all. No, he was dealing with a thing called strep throat, ladies and gentlemen. But it is gone. I kicked its arse pretty fast, actually. Unfortunately, strep throat sucks. It basically means you can't talk. My throat was so frickin' swollen, all I could do was lay in bed for 2 days and just cry about the fact that I couldn't make YouTube videos. I'm not very good at downtime. It's not really my thing. I've really become somebody who's like the opposite of good at downtime. I did watch a lot of Mystery Science Theater 3000, the new one, which is actually kind of good, and that got me through some of it. But the rest of it was like, I just want to make YouTube videos. Oh my, they launched a new Frontier News Network. They talked about the new content. I can't make a video. I was going insane, guys. So, today, on this fine Sunday night, I hope you all had a great Easter. We're going to talk a little bit about that release. We're not going to do my full-blown, like, let's talk about every single thing, because it's already been talked about, but there were a couple things in this release, some things they talked about in terms of the road ahead for DLC that I did want to talk about. I wanted to do some commentary on, because normally these are great news pieces, right? I cover them on the channel for multiple reasons. One of the big reasons is because it brings people to the channel. If you're searching for Titanfall 2 news, DLC, rather than going to the EA website for Titanfall 2 and reading a page, you get to hear me talk about it. You get to hear my opinions and thoughts. I ask you questions. I say, hey, what do you think, man? Come over here and write your comment right down there below, you know? It's pretty cool. So I get why people like that, and that's why I do it. But the second part of it, well, the second part of it is because I just like to talk about it, because it's a game I like to play. I like to give you my opinion on it. And it's that, you know, asking you to write your comment part again. I like to interact with you guys and see what you have to say about the upcoming DLC plans. So, let's just glance through this really quick. Obviously, the big kickers here. Number one, let me let you know that this is all supposed to drop between April and June. Well, April's pretty much over with. I mean, the Easter Bunny just came for a bunch of people. He gave them chocolate. Most of them, I think, got chocolate. I'm pretty sure that Inequity, he might have gotten, like, coal. I don't know. He's a bad dude sometimes, you know? You know that, Inequity? You think he's a nice guy, but as it turns out, the Easter Bunny told me a little secret. He's kind of a pain in the arse sometimes. I'm like, why? And Bunny's like, I don't know, he just is. So the Easter Bunny and Iniquity, they don't get along. Insider tip from Tony Mo. Anyway, we're pretty much done with April at this point. So we're looking at May and June for most of this content. Respawn did say in their last FNN that they would be dropping new DLC in April. We were going to be getting something in April. So something on this list should hopefully be dropping before the end of April. I'm hoping it's at least the multiplayer map. So 2 more general multiplayer maps. Glitch, which obviously ties into the name of the upcoming DLC, which is supposed to be a glitch in the frontier. And also the return of Relic. I'm pretty excited about this one, guys. I like the idea of Titanfall 1 maps coming back into the fray. But I don't want more maps like Colony and Angel City. I learned my mistake. Colony and Angel City are good maps. I like them. But they don't really work in the game balance world of Titanfall 2. They are 2 maps that pretty much, they enable people to instantly do better, especially if they are of higher skill level, by simply using a certain weapon in a certain set of play types. You know, like rifles just do better on Angel City and on Colony. SMGs seem to suffer. Fun playstyles, if you're just having a good time with the Mastiff or like the EPG, they also seem to suffer from time to time on these maps. If we're talking about playing at an actual even skill level, not just hosing down noobs, these maps aren't really that fun all the time. And a lot of it just has to do with their design. Their lines of sight are too open. They're not complex enough. They don't have enough like layers and routes, and they just kind of they just end up being just chaotic sometimes. They're not a lot of fun. Sometimes. I think Relic, when I look back at Relic's design, you know, this is a map that I think has the same strengths as a map like Boomtown or Dry Dock or Blackwater Canal has. It has layers and complexity that give players a lot of options when it comes to moving from one side to the other to perform flanks, so they don't have to constantly expose themselves to engage the enemy because they're all camped on top of a rooftop. That's why I like those maps more than any other map in Titanfall 1 or in Titanfall 2. So the idea of Relic and, you know, maybe even Boneyard in the future coming back, these are maps that I think could work well in Titanfall 2, but we'll have to see how it actually plays. Nonetheless, a map that I'm excited about. Fun pro tip. Not really a pro tip, but in the original Relic, you could actually look down and see the colony map, because the whole idea of Relic is that it's a sort of like IMC way station that transports goods and materials to colonies like colonies. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Moving forward, we have those two new live fire maps, Traffic and Deck, they're going to be called. I'm just excited for more live fire maps. I like live fire a lot, and if we get to play more of that, like Inferno CTF, something burning, is it like just Burning Man CTF, whatever they're calling it. Again, I was away for an entire week. The last time I checked, it was just CTF live fire. Now they've given it a name. That's cool. If we get to play more of that on the new live fire maps, I will be very, very excited. Now, obviously, the big deal here is that new Titan. We don't know too much about the new Titan. We don't know if it's going to be PvE only. Obviously, there are a lot of rumors surrounding the return of Frontier Defense. Here's my big thing. This is something I really wanted to talk about. Actually, before we talk about it, let's just go through the other stuff real quick. A new faction, Marked for Death game mode, cool. More pilot executions, refined matchmaking, purchasable camos, that's great. The potential for expanded private match settings, including the addition of live fire and Coliseum to the selectable modes. I hope this means we can actually modify the game modes in private match. Like, can I change the scoring for attrition or bounty hunt? Can I maybe even disable certain weapons or certain titans? When they say expanded private matches, that's the stuff I want. Anything less than that, and you're not really doing much to actually expand the private matches. So hopefully that's something we get. Let's go back to the Titan, and then we'll save talking about the gen cap for the end, because I don't have anything too positive to say about that. The new Titan. Here's the thing. I really want to see more Titans added to the roster, because here's my mindset moving forward with the game. This is one way I think we can really start to look at Titans that would bring a lot of strengths to the game. When Titanfall 2 first released, we're all looking at Titans much like we look at the weapons in the game. We want them to be as balanced as possible. We want to be able to 1v1 with every single Titan. So Ronin should be able to take on Tone, and Tone should be able to take on Scorch, and Scorch should be able to take on Ronin, and, you know, back and forth. But the reality is, when you have Titans with different abilities, they're going to eventually end up being able to counter certain Titans better than other Titans can counter them. You get what I'm saying here. That's that sort of rock, paper, scissor effect. Overwatch does something like this. League of Legends has a lot of elements like this. The idea is to make characters that have strengths and weaknesses that can fill in the blanks. So if we add more Titans to the roster, we can start to build that mindset into the game a little bit more. We can have a Titan that fills a certain role, and we can accept that, no, I don't do really well against Tone. And no, I don't do really well against Legion. But you know what? I'm great at supporting people who are looking to engage those Titans, and I'm even better at dealing with North Stars. You know, that it allows you to kind of recognize that this Titan fills a certain role. Not only does that give a lot of character to that Titan and to the player who decides to play that Titan, but it gives you a personal playstyle that you can align with depending on how you want to play the game when it comes to Titan combat. I think the game could really benefit a lot from that. You know, it's something that Rob and I have talked about in Pilot's Ponder before, and that's why I hope this new Titan isn't just for PvE, because I think that's a great route moving forward if they handle it right. I don't really think it's like weapons. We don't have to worry too much about, oh, there's too many weapons, they can't balance them. I think Titans can just, they can be taken to that route. They can be taken in that direction, and I think that would be bad freaking arse. Alright, last thing on this list, guys. I'm excited for all that stuff. You know, it's cool to at least have an idea of what's going to be happening with the game moving forward. Obviously, there's a lot of other things I would like to see. And the gen cap here is one of the big things that it just really disappoints me. I know a lot of you guys just wanted more gens, right? You just want, I just want to level up more. But why? It's meaningless. I mean, there's a good chance that you won't even get camos aligned to those new gens. And even if you do, who cares? Like, they're camos based on level grind. It's just padding. Like, Respawn just picked a number and said, gen cap increase to 100. Yeah, 100. I think that's going to take people a while to get to. Let's go with 100. Hell, maybe we'll be working on Titanfall 3 by the time they get to 100. It's such a meaningless, just stupid high number. It carries no weight. Like saying that your Gen 100 is just going to be like, well, you played a crap load of the game, congratulations. You know, gens already don't really mean anything. I know a lot of people try and assign gen is skill, but I've talked about this in the past. It doesn't. I mean, I can manually decide when to regenerate and when not to regenerate. It carries no value, which is why I tell people not to look at my Gen 4 and say, dude, how are you? Only Gen 4 and you're better than me? I probably have more playtime than you, dude. I didn't regenerate for the first 4 months. Like, it's a meaningless thing. I would much rather have saw them introduce challenges. Like, just get rid of that and go work on challenges and drop it in 3 months for all I care. I'd much rather have those challenges that we got in Titanfall 1. Give us something to work towards. Let us, you know, achieve an objective or eliminate a goal with certain weapons to unlock a skin or a banner. These mindless blasting of levels, it's useless. It adds nothing of real value to the game. It is just simple padding and ridiculously old school level progression. It's not even progression. You're just getting a new number. I'm really upset with it, to be honest. It's nothing. I guess it is giving the community what they want because so many of you guys have asked for it, but to me it's no. If it doesn't add anything to the game value-wise, then don't bother with it. That's my thought. My personal opinion on the gen cap increase to 100, and let's simply leave it at that. Respawn's doing some good things. They're doing some stuff. I'm still really in love with Titanfall 2, so I'm still going to be playing it. There's a lot of rumors out there. Not really rumors, a lot of leaks out there right now, guys. A lot of people digging into the PC code. You've probably heard of a lot of things. I'm not going to mention anything in specific. There was some stuff today that was just discovered. I know some people on Twitter were talking about it. Iniquity was talking about it. It's all very promising, and people want to get really excited about it, but don't let yourself get caught up in the hype of that stuff. You know, if you're going to look at it, go in there with a clear and conscious mind and know just because you saw it in a leak, just because someone even showed you it on PC, recognize that that does not mean that it will be put into the game. It could have been there. These could be old files. These could be files that are abandoned, that Respawn doesn't plan on working with anymore. Just don't get too caught up in it. And I know in the past, they've been right, though. In the past, they've been right. Okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what happened in the past. There's always the potential for things to change, to be altered, or to be never, ever put into the game. So just don't get yourself too caught up in that. I don't want to see people getting let down over that. That's it for me, guys. I gotta get back to working on Titanfall 2 stuff for the week ahead. Thank you guys so much for your patience. I hate being gone, even if I know I'm sick, and a lot of you guys are like, Tony, you're sick. I get that. It still sucks. I had so much stuff planned for the week. Streaming was going to be awesome. We're going to try and get back into all of that as soon as I possibly can. I'll keep you guys updated. Let's leave it at that. Also, quick note, I'm letting the community challenge run another week in case you haven't realized. There wasn't a whole lot of submissions. I know people aren't super into the Titan side of the game, but it is a very important part of Titanfall. So we'll let that run until next Friday, at which point I will launch a new community challenge, and it will, of course, take a look at my top 3 for the Titan teamwork stuff. That's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, remember to play smart, remember to play to challenge yourself, but most importantly, remember to play for fun.